back. And you saw, like, first play of the game, right? They knock him out for a play. They knock Fernando Mendoza out of the game for one play. He comes back. And then, look, he wasn't lights out in the first half. It was the second half where it was the difference for Fernando Mendoza. That was the difference in the second half, was what he did on the field.
Yeah, I mean, Mendoza made plays when they had to be made in the second half. But to me, it was really the other side of the ball for Indiana that was the most impressive.
Oh, disruptive.
I mean, you talk about holding Ohio State to 58 yards rushing. Ohio State had 4 trips to the red zone, only had 1 touchdown. They were in Julian Sayen's face all day. That allowed Fernando Mendoza to not have to do too much, to just kind of control the game, not have to push the ball down the field too much. And all the talk will be about Mendoza, rightfully so, but that Indiana defense is elite.
Well, Mendoza, both quarterbacks were under duress, but Mendoza was under duress a lot in this game. He was running backwards in the pocket at some point in time in this game. Ohio State's swarming pass rush obviously was getting after him and affecting him. But Indiana up front, I mean, you just cannot say enough. Ohio State, I thought, really struggled to block Indiana with the different movement patterns that they have up front with those defensive linemen. It's hard to get a hat on a hat and keep a hat on a hat for an entire play. And they were getting after Julian Sayen, speeding him up a little bit and just being better at the point of attack.
All right, so Ohio State late in the third quarter, 4th and 1. We think Julian Sayen picks up the first down. Thought he got a couple of yards. They review it. He was short, turnover on downs. Could have kicked a field goal there, tied the game. Then 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter, 27 yards out. It's a chip shot for Jaden Fielding, and he just shanked it. I mean, sometimes you need in these big games, you need a little bit of luck. And Indiana dominated on the defensive line. I get it. They sacked Julian Sayen, but for that field goal to get missed from 27 yards, and I know Redick missed a field goal earlier in the game as well, but that moment right there, that was massive, missing that field goal, because now you're putting all the pressure back on your defense to shut it down.
Yeah, it was Ohio State's chance to tie the game. I mean, I can't believe he missed that field goal.
Either can I.
But to be honest, I think that's a mistake by Ryan Day. Let's think about the situation. It's 4th down and 1. Okay, you're in the red zone. You have Julian Sayen at quarterback. You have a run game that has been good all season, been struggling in this game. You also have the best receivers in the country outside, and you get a chance there to go try to win the game against Indiana in the conference championship game. I think deciding to kick the field goal on 4th and 1 is a weak call. I think analytics probably tell you to go for it there and try to win the game, try to go up by a touchdown right there, especially with the playmakers that you have. I think Ryan Day mismanaged that and put his team in a bad position.
Do you think, though, he had like a little bit of PTSD there because they went right because of the previous one, right? We went for it on 4th and 1. We got stopped, so let's kick the field goal because we need 3 to potentially send this to overtime.
Yeah, but then and I guess maybe that if we miss, they got 90 yards to drive or what have you. They also had timeouts. Had timeouts in the pocket too. It was an interesting call for sure.
So you think it was mismanaged there? You would have went for it on 4th and 1.
For sure. And really, all those coaches listen to the analytics. Usually, anytime it's 4th down and 1, the analytics almost always tell you to go for it.
Right.
Especially, the point is not to tie the game. The point is to win the football game. And you're Ohio State, 1 yard in the red zone, and you got a new set of downs to go take the lead in the Big Ten championship game. I just don't know why you're playing for a tie right there.
And last week, you proved your physicality. Last week, you proved your mettle against Michigan. You proved that you can do that, and you can ice a game and finish a game on the ground like that.
All right. I got to be a pro here, and I'm going to be a pro. And here's why. Because Curt Signetti, in 2 seasons, has won a Big Ten championship. Their first Big Ten championship in school history. They've won 3 Big Ten titles, but this is their first Big Ten championship. He's lost 2 games. He's 24-2. They lost last season to Ohio State, then they lost to Notre Dame in the first round of the college football playoff. This team is better than the one from 1 year ago, and this team is nasty because this was 1 versus 2 in terms of defense. Yeah. Ohio State gets all the credit for defense, less than 7 points per game, right, or 8 points per game. This defense for IU is nasty. And consider that Omar Cooper Jr. was banged up in this game. Their defense from both defensive line and their secondary, I mean, they hassled. They were harassing Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. Like, it was a defense they hadn't seen all season.
Well, and the other thing is last year in this game, when these two teams played last year at the Horseshoe, you found out how far away Indiana was as a program for the true upper echelon in the Big Ten and the college football overall. In this game, you realize that Indiana is the upper echelon of college football. It's incredible what they've been able to build and what they've been able to put in. And consider last year, Caleb Downs returns that punt and special teams help Ohio State and push them to the victory. Tonight, they lose the game on special teams with the missed field goal. I almost called it an extra point because it was so close.
That's what it looked like, right?
So felt like. That's what it felt like. Look, credit to Curt Signetti. I mean, the culture that he's built, the guys that he's went and got, Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Cal, I mean, had his Heisman moment. You heard him post-game, how, of course, what a moment this was, finding Charlie Becker. Now you look at Indiana in a different light when they take down the number one team in the nation, the defending national champs. Indiana can win a national championship. It wasn't a question even coming into this game. They're that good. They have shrunk the disparity, Richard, as you said. This is a team that could just absolutely take the wind out of your sails, because that's what they did against Ohio State.
Think about how crazy of a comment that would have been 2 years ago.
Right.
Indiana can win a national championship. The number one thing Curt Signetti has done is he's given that entire community and now his players confidence at all times. Those guys play confident. The way Fernando Mendoza plays. How about the receiver, Charlie Becker? I mean, had 130 yards in this game receiving. The defensive line and how they fly around. Curt Signetti has given that program belief, confidence, completely changed the trajectory of Indiana football forever. It is absolutely remarkable, Richard.
Right, the second losing, the second most losses in FBS history behind only Northwestern or Big Ten history.
Yeah.
Right, like to talk about where they've come from to now where they're at. I mean, this is incredible turnaround from Curt Signetti. And we saw James Madison, and we saw what he does. It's also a product of the era that we're in as well, right? 10 years ago, I don't know if you pull this off. Now you are playing to the strengths of the system, and you're using it to maximum capability, and this is what it looks like in Bloomington.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is there are a lot of programs that have one-season blips, right? There are a lot of programs that, you have a nice one season, and then you go back to where you classically were in the history of the sport. Not Indiana. They have gotten better, as you stated, from last season when they were pretty doggone good enough to make the college football playoff last season. It's incredible for them to level up from last season. Walking off the field in South Bend last season, Curt Signetti and athletic director Scott Dolson were already talking amongst themselves about what they needed to make sure that they could take the next step. That's what Dolson told me back in October. And hey, they have absolutely paid off those investments. 100%.
My favorite thing is that Signetti doubled down and is staying at Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's a great signal that when you get the resources at the highest level, when you invest and there's alignment in your administration, man, you can win and compete for a national title. I think a lot of programs around the country can learn from what Indiana's done. The other thing he's done, though, Signetti has brought an elite coaching staff with him as well. I mean, how about Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator for Indiana? It's time he gets some more love too, because what he just did against the best receivers in the country and Julian Sayin and had him seeing chaos back there at quarterback is really impressive.
Brought a great coaching staff with him, kept that great coaching staff together. Only one coach from last year is not with them this year. This wild, crazy coaching carousel we've been through, unlike any coaching carousel. You didn't hear anything about the Indiana assistant coaches on that coaching carousel. It ain't because they can't coach. It's because Indiana locked them down as part of the package that was the extension that Curt Signetti signed earlier this season. When Scott Dolson walked in to Curt Signetti's office when he was watching film and he said, "Hey, Curt, can I talk to your representatives? I think Penn State, I think Adam Brenneman's Penn State may be calling you." And Curt said, "Yeah, I want to retire here." And within 48 hours, they got that extension done.
One remaining undefeated team. Now Indiana, the number one team. They win the Big Ten championship. Perhaps the Heisman Trophy has already been decided. Fernando Heisman-Doza. So the remaining question is, where does Ohio State slot? 3 or 4? Do they slot in behind Texas Tech at 4, or do they jump Texas Tech because they only have one loss and Texas Tech only has one loss and they won a conference championship? Where are you putting the Buckeyes in the top 4?
Well, you know where I want to put them. I want to put them out in the top 4 because I want some jeopardy for this Big Ten championship loss. But they will probably end up in front of Texas Tech because their loss is, it's probably the best loss anybody's taken the entire season.
Yeah.
You agree?
I got them at 3 ahead of Texas Tech. Tech's losses to Arizona State, this one for Ohio State's to the Big Ten champion.
Good. I wanted to be number 3 because then I get to face the winner of potentially Tulane and Ole Miss. So I'll take that. I'll take my chances. All right. Congratulations to Indiana. Hey, congrats to Max and Brett. Graphics and research and production and all my guys all up there. They love Indiana. Max is our researcher. Brett, he's cutting this game. He's cutting the highlight. I'm sure he's elated right now, as everybody is in Bloomington, as Indiana does something it's never done before, winning the Big Ten championship game for the first time in school history. It's their 3rd title in conference play, first since 1967. That was a split title. Whatever, those are still recognized, but this is the biggest win in Indiana football history. Curt Signetti and the Indiana